Well, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, make sure you take the time to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. All that will be greatly appreciated. Now, listen, man. If you're watching this video now, I've already went ahead and did a live about this, but consider this the short form version of this topic, video version of this topic. Now, I've had a lot of people bombarding me, asking me, BT, True School, Brendan Taylor, The Untouchable, what do you think about Canelo Alvarez versus Makabu at cruiserweight? What's your whole perspective on this whole ordeal with them at cruiserweight? And you know what? Look, I've taken some time to think about it, because when it first happened, I was pretty upset about it. I was pretty angry because I'll get to that later on. I was upset about it. But I've had time to think about it. I've had time to see, like, a lot of things. And first of all, let me say this. Let me preface everything I'm going to say by saying this is it's a good matchup. Like, Makabu versus Canelo is not a bad matchup. But the only problem is it's not really a matchup that is warranted. It's a completely unwarranted matchup. Nobody asked for the Makabu fight. I didn't ask. I never heard one person. I talk to Canelo fans all the time. I didn't hear not one of them say, "Hey, we want to see the Makabu fight." Truthfully speaking, most people up until just like within the last couple of days that found out about this news, they just found out who Makabu was. So I don't want to hear about how everybody thinks Makabu is this killer now, because y'all didn't even know who Makabu was a couple days ago. And don't try to talk to me about Makabu, because unlike most people who are speaking of Makabu on YouTube, I've done like I went back and checked. I've done 4 YouTube videos covering the career Makabu. I made a video about the Bellew fight, the Kadria Shah fight, the Michael Cieslak fight, and the Alexei Papin fight. If you haven't covered at least 4 fights in Makabu and you have a YouTube channel, don't talk to me about Makabu, because you don't have a truthful opinion on the subject. He's a good fighter, Makabu. A good fighter. Powerful, strong left hand. Knows how to knock people out and break them down. Doesn't really have much of a jab. Kind of fights like the bootleg Adonis Stevenson. Uses as a southpaw. Uses that right hand kind of as a range finder, as a probe to set up the left hand. But if you take away the left hand, Makabu really is a useless fighter. Just being honest. So stylistically, it's not the most difficult fight in the world for Canelo, if we're being honest, which is kind of crazy to say, because I know he's a cruiserweight, I know he's big, but I'm telling you guys the truth. I'm telling you guys that the truth. Now, I like Makabu. I'm a fan of his. He's someone that he's very humble. You know, I'm happy he's getting the payday. I'm not. This video is in no way, shape, or form a hatred or slander or to discredit Makabu, but it's just, you know, I'm not mad at him. I'm mad at the situation. Okay, I'm upset at the situation, because when my honest thoughts are that when I look at the Makabu Canelo situation, I look at it as one of the most creative and one of the most out of the box ways to duck and stall fights. It's amazing. It's truthfully amazing. I gotta give Eddy Reynoso, Canelo, and the whole team credit, because this is some out of the box shit. Why fight Benavidez, who everybody wants to see you fight? I mean, not me. I mean, I could care less if it happens, but you know, I'd rather see that fight than Makabu. It's more of a warranted fight than Makabu. A lot of people want to see you fight Benavidez, a guy that I think is tailor-made for you, and a guy that I think you beat the hell out of, but you don't want to fight him, so you are avoiding and stalling a Day Benavidez fight. Secondly, you know, obviously we know what I think about the Demetrius Andrade fight. He told you what he thinks about the Demetrius Andrade fight. He has no sort of inclination or urgency to want to fight Demetrius Andrade. He's scared of him. He's intimidated, and he doesn't want any smoke. And I don't care what you say. That's what I believe, and I'm standing on it. Artur Beterbiev is a fight that people have campaigned for. Bivol has a fight that people have campaigned for, and even Charlo as well. David Morrell's a guy that's name gets thrown around sometimes. All these guys would all be more viable and attractive fights. Maybe not Morrell, but everybody apart from Morrell. All those guys I named will all be more viable and attractive fights for Makabu. Makabu, and I hate to sound like a hater. I'm not a hater. I'm actually a Makabu fan. He's my of the champions at cruiserweight. He's my favorite cruiserweight of the champions between Breedis and Minakoli. But I'm not going to fool myself into thinking that he's the best cruiserweight in the world. He's not. He's the weakest of that bunch. And Canelo is picking the weakest champion. Makabu's a guy that's very strong-minded. Makabu, I mean, just being real, Makabu got knocked out in his pro debut in less than 30 seconds. That's a fact. He got knocked out in his pro debut in less than 30 seconds. Then he fought domestic level Congo opposition up until he got the Tony Bellew fight, when he was ranked and got the Tony Bellew fight on that fateful night at Goodison Park in Liverpool. They put on one of the greatest cruiserweight title fights of all time. It was a 3-round war. Makabu dropped Bellew in the first round. Bellew got up, stopped Makabu in the third round. It was a great fight, but he lost. So he's shown in his career a couple of times already that he is a chinny fighter and he can be stopped. He has puncher syndrome. A lot of punchers that can dish it out, most of the time they can't take it. And he, in my opinion, is a guy that fits that description. So is it a cherry pick? No, I don't think it's a cherry pick, because that would be disrespectful to Makabu. And I would be contradicting myself by saying he's this good fighter if I'm calling him a cherry pick. He's a good fighter. He's definitely a guy that's earned his belt, and he's done it the hard way. So respect to Makabu, respect to the Congolese warrior. I have the utmost respect for the Llunga Makabu. But it's one of the most creative and one of the most creative ducking and stalling tactics I've ever seen in my life in boxing. Because what Canelo is doing, just to break down, what Canelo is doing is saying is this: he's pretty much showing all these other guys that he's above boxing, that he thinks he's above boxing, and he's basically taking a piss on all of them. He's saying, look, I don't gotta fight none of you because I'm the cash cow, so I'll go fight this. I'll go fight this guy that nobody's even heard of, who's a cruiserweight. I won't get criticized for it because he's a cruiserweight, but I'll beat him. I'll become a 5-division champion. My reputation will improve, and while I'm doing that, I'll put pressure on you guys to fight each other. That's what he's doing. He's trying to get Andrade and Charlo to fight each other so one of them can get knocked off. That's one less person to worry about. He's trying to get Bivol and Beterbiev to fight each other so he can get one person knocked off. You know, because there's this notion that these guys are all sitting around waiting for Canelo. Now, I don't think that they're... I think Charlo's waiting around for him. I think that... But I don't think Beterbiev, Bivol, or Andrade are waiting for Canelo. I think they all want the Canelo fight. I think they all deserve a Canelo fight. And they all have a good case for a Canelo fight, but they just haven't got it because Canelo doesn't want to fight those guys. For whatever the case may be, he doesn't want to fight those guys. He doesn't want to fight Andrade. He doesn't want to fight Bivol. He doesn't want to fight Beterbiev. And the sad part is, I would favor him against Beterbiev. I truthfully would. Bivol, I would slightly favor him in. And I think the Andrade fight's a damn near pick-em fight. Maybe you lean a little bit more towards Canelo because he's been more active over the last couple of years. But, you know, that to me is the toughest fight for him, is the Andrade fight. Demetrius Andrade is the toughest puzzle to solve from 160 to 168. And 175 too. I'll throw them in there as well. So, yeah, Makabu. I don't know how anybody can sit here and say like this is a great fight. It's great to see Canelo has ambition. I'll give him credit for that. He's showing some ambition by going up the cruiserweight. But I'm not gonna necessarily call it a great fight, because if you just take away the trinkets, take away what Canelo could accomplish in this fight, just look at the styles. Look at ask yourself the question: what does Canelo bring to the table, and what does Makabu bring to the table from a boxing skill standpoint? And you'll get your answer very quickly if this is a great fight or not, because Makabu is a hard puncher, a dangerous puncher, a naturally bigger guy. But guess what? Everybody's a naturally bigger guy than Canelo. Everyone is. Canelo Smith was, Caleb Plant was. All these guys are bigger than Canelo, all right? He's fighting way above his natural weight class, which that should call... Don't want to accuse him of nothing, but y'all know what I'm talking about. We know Canelo Alvarez, sometimes he resembles a science experiment. But, you know, he apart from physical attributes, okay, from a skill standpoint, this fight is not even close. It's not even close. It's not even close. Makabu is a one-handed fighter. He is a one-handed fighter. Dynamite left hand. If Canelo gets touched with it, he could be in big trouble. But Canelo Alvarez, all the way around the board, is a more skilled fighter, and I don't even think it's a competitive fight from a skill standpoint. The only chance Makabu has to land in this fight is a puncher's chance, you know. And listen, I don't like talking about this way about Makabu because I like him, but Canelo is a creme de la creme A-level fighter. Makabu is a B level fighter. He's a B level fighter, and that's just the nature of that's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. If Makabu somehow, I'm gonna tell you this. This fight to me is polar opposites. You got Canelo, who has the machine of boxing behind him. He's got the machine of boxing behind him. He's the biggest cash cow in the sport right now. He's got the judges on his side. He's got the WBC in his back pocket. He's got everything and their mother on his side. But he's fighting a guy in Makabu who is quite the opposite. This is a guy that's come from the dirt, from nothing. Like, truthfully, from nothing. Fighting in domestic level shows in the Congo. Came in as the B-side against Tony Bellew. Signed a contract with Don King. He still has Don King behind him. I don't know if that's still a thing, but I know Don King was promoting him not too long ago. When he fought Michael Cieslak, the promotion was so low budget that they couldn't even time the rounds properly, and there were some rounds where they fought over 3 minutes and under 3 minutes. So Makabu really has nobody behind him. Nobody in boxing on the inside gives a fuck about Makabu. And you can't sit here and think that if Makabu doesn't knock out Canelo, that he's getting a decision. If you thought Caleb Plant didn't have a chance, Makabu really does have a chance. So I really feel like Makabu, and I hate to say it this way, I feel like Makabu is just doing what any other fighter would do in his position, and that's basically selling his belt to the highest bidder. And God bless him. He's come from nothing. I'm not hitting on him. I hope he enjoys the money, but it's not a fight he can win. He says he can win. He says that he believes in his heart that he can win, and he's not listening to anybody. And you know what? I'm rooting for him. Like, truthfully, like, look, I'm rooting for Makabu. I think it would be the best thing in the world for boxing. I think if Makabu beats Canelo, they should make a movie about him. Truthfully, they should make a movie about him, because that's the kind of underdog I think he is in this fight. Not just because I think Canelo is a more skilled fighter than him all the way around the board, but also because the powers that be in boxing do not give a fuck about Makabu. If you think they didn't care about Caleb Plant, they really don't care about Makabu. Because up until yesterday, even though Makabu's been champion for what, the better part of a year and a half, 2 years now, people just found out who he was yesterday. So I mean, I guess congrats to Canelo for trying to show some ambition and make history, escribiendo la historia, but I see right through it. It's a creative stalling and ducking tactic where you're gonna try to get other fighters that you don't want to fight beat so that you don't got to fight them. So if Demetrius Andrade and Charlo make their fight anytime in the near future, whoever loses that fight, you have the built-in excuse not to fight them, and you're praying to God that it's Andrade, because if it's Andrade, you're gonna be the happiest guy in the world, because you know how hard of a fight Andrade is for you, Canelo. You know that if you fight Demetrius Andrade, it could be the 2022 version of what Frankie Randall did against Julio Cesar Chavez in the first fight. Frankie Randall was the American fighter. He had all odds against him, had the WBC against him, had Jose Sulaiman against him, and against all odds, he fought Canelo at the he fought Chavez Sr. at the MGM Grand with the pro-Mexican crowd and beat him in front of everybody and shocked the world. And Andrade is capable enough to deliver a 2022 Frankie Randall performance, and Canelo doesn't want to have a Frankie Randall performance. Canelo also doesn't want to fight. I don't think Canelo's keen on fighting Gilberto Ramirez either, because Gilberto Ramirez is a young Mexican fighter, and Canelo Alvarez doesn't want any young Mexican fighter stealing his shine. He wants to keep that Mexican boxing juice. He wants to have all the spotlight in boxing from Mexico on himself. So, it is what it is, man. There's no sense in getting bent out of shape about it. We know who Canelo is. I'm surprised at the matchup, but I'm not surprised that he got this creative to duck, Andrade and Benavidez and Bivol and Beterbiev. These aren't fights that he's interested in, and he's trying to get them to beat each other so that he don't got to fight some of them. That's all this is about. This is all about self-preservation, right? Self-preservation is the law of the land. It's all about self-preservation. It's all about Canelo Alvarez looking out for his best interests, and hey, fair play to him. He's going to make a lot of money. He's going to be a 5-division champion if he does what he expects to do. But, Makabu, humble guy, he's going to make some money. I like him, but he can't win this fight. Like, the powers that be won't allow him to. And listen, if he lands that knockout Hail Mary shot and knocks out Canelo, man, what a story that would be. What a story. I'm rooting for that. I really think it would be great for boxing, but I got to be real. It's probably not going to happen. And Canelo will more than likely be a 5-division champion. And people will go crazy, and they'll say, oh my God, Canelo's a cruiserweight champion. He's better than Floyd. He's better than Pacquiao. He's better than Joe Louis. He's better than all these great fighters. And truthfully, man, like, You guys already know what he needs to do with me if he wants to get to where I want him to be. If he wants to get to a certain level with me, for me to really give him that credit. I mean, I gave him his credit for Caleb Plant. He's gone up a notch with me, but Makabu ain't doing it. It's not gonna cut the mustard. Andrade, Bivol, Beterbiev, Benavidez, these are the fights that I think he should be looking at. Even though I'm not really keen on the Benavidez fight, it's a more attractive fight than the Makabu fight. But yeah, best wishes to llunga Makabu. My prayers are with you, my friend. I'm rooting for you. Been a fan for a long time. I don't think it's a fight you can win because of the politics of boxing. Maybe in a fair and just universe, I would be a lot more optimistic. But boxing is not fair and just at this level when it comes to Canelo. So we gotta call a spade a spade. But my prayers and my wishes and all the best is with llunga Makabu, because I feel like boxing needs an upset like Makabu against Canelo to really put some life in the sport, man. Because this Canelo shit is getting boring. But you guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just kidding, Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.